Hello dear students. Now we see the next point in this topic. It's a Mendel garden pea plant for his hybridization experiment. That is the Pisum sativum. So what's the experiment? When the Mendes performed the experiment on the garden pea plant, the Mendes selected the garden pea, that is the Pisum sativum, for his hybridization experiment. He performed the hybridization experiment to study the inheritance pattern. म्हणजे मेंडेल्सने हायब्रिडायझेशनचा एक्सपेरिमेंट का बरं वर्कआउट केला होता, तर त्याने हे इनहेरिटन्स पॅटर्न स्टडी करण्यासाठी एक्सपेरिमेंट वर्कआउट केला होता. ही सिलेक्टेड द 7 different traits with their detectable variant. We already studied these 7 different characteristics which is present in the garden pea plant. If you watch that video, you can understand this concept very well. Initially, he considered only one trait. सुरुवातीला मेंडेल्सने फक्त एकच कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक कन्सिडर केलं क्रॉससाठी. He focused on the inheritance pattern of a selected traits. What's that? 3 steps which is used for the experiment, for the hybridization experiment. The first step is what? That is a selection of the parents. सगळ्यात महत्त्वाची जी स्टेप काय आहे ती आहे सिलेक्शन ऑफ द पॅरेंट अँड ऑब्टेनिंग द प्युअर लाईन व्हरायटीज. द सेकंड स्टेप इट्स अ आर्टिफिशियल क्रॉस ऑफ द सिलेक्टेड पॅरेंट्स टू रेज द F1 generation. The third step is a selfing of the F1 hybrid to raise the F2 generation. The first step is what? That is a selection of the parent and obtaining the pure line. What's the selection of the parent? Mendel selected the garden pea plant for his experiment by considering a single pair of a contrasting characteristic, but this parent it's a pure line parents. That is, he selected the tall pea plant as a female parent and the dwarf pea plant as a male parent. This tall plant it's a female and the dwarf pea plant it's a male parent. Afterward, he obtaining the pure line by selfing up to the 3 generation. As a pea plant, it is naturally self-pollinated. म्हणजे pea plantचा कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक काय आहे तर पी प्लांटमध्ये सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन पण होतं आणि क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन पण होतं. हे आपण लास्ट व्हिडिओमध्ये ऑलरेडी स्टडी केलेलं आहे. मग जर त्याच्यामध्ये सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन होत असेल तर ते कसं होतं आहे नॅचरली. द Mendel allowed the self-pollination in the selected parent up to the 3 generation to verify the purity of a selected traits. That is, the obtaining the pure line by selfing up to the 3 generation. He selected the pure tall pea plant. That is the parent plant. This parent plant it undergoes the selfing and there is obtaining the seeds. He collected the seeds and sown in the soil. So what happened? There is obtaining the F1 generation, but all these plants are the tall plant. Again he collected the seeds and sown in the soil. So what happened? There is again development of the flower. Flowers develops the seeds and the seeds, all the seeds, it again produces all tall plants. That is F2 generation. Again in the third stage, again the F3 generation. Means each and every generation what is that is obtaining the pure line varieties. It is if this not happen, he selected the another plant and follows the same procedure. What's the second one? The artificial cross of the selected parent to raise the F1 generation. He performed the artificial cross. So this is the artificial cross which is performed by the Mendel. He performed the artificial cross, that is called as the emasculation technique. Means the removal of the stamen before anthesis, and it is dusted on the stigma of the female flower. That is, he performed the artificial cross. He collected and opens the pod, collected seed and sowed them in the soil to raise the F1 generation. That is called as a first filial generation. Means after transfers the pollen grain or the before anthesis on the surface of the stigma, the fertilization is there. and there is a development of the fruit and the seeds. When the seeds it is again sown in the soil, there is obtaining the first filial generation. He observed the F1 generation. Note down the result. The third step. What's that? The third step, the selfing of the F1 hybrid to raise the F2 generation. म्हणजे F1 जनरेशन मध्ये जे हायब्रिड मिळालेलं आहे त्यांच्यामध्ये कोणतं पॉलिनेशन होणार आहे, तर त्यांच्यामध्ये सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन होणार आहे. ही allowed the selfing in the F1 hybrid, collected the seed and sown them in the soil to raise the F2 generation and observe the F2 generation. Note down again the result. So this is the experiment which is worked out by the Mendel for his inheritance pattern. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.